Hello and welcome to this BB Education cutting tutorial. In today's tutorial, we're going to be taking you through a uniform layer or a round layer. Firstly, let's look at our sectioning or our mapping. We're going to simply put the hair into 4 zones. We're going to work with the profile section, working from the forehead to the nape. We're going to work with the radial section, working from the crown to behind each ear. So we're going to start with taking a vertical profile section from one of our back zones. It doesn't matter which zone, but this is going to be a vertical section working from top to bottom. In this instance, we put the head forward as it makes it easier for us to grab the difficult areas of the hair, ensuring our body position can remain consistent. When the head is upright, we can lose our balance and put strain on our wrists. So let's get started. We're going to start internally, not externally. We're going to ensure that our sections are not too large. Now, people call this a round layer, but in truth, you're following the head shape. So the shape you're cutting isn't really round, but you follow the head shape. In this instance, we're going to be cutting to a comb's length. This is a great way for us to keep checking that we're on track, as you can simply pull a section out and measure it against your comb to ensure we're in control. Let's look at body position first. This is a huge factor in retaining control of all our mechanics. I ensure that wherever my guideline is, it always is pulled to the center of my chest, ensuring that both my arms have a great range of motion, meaning that I don't feel uncomfortable with my left or right hand. Now, look at my elevation. You'll notice that my knuckles are facing away from the head. This is on purpose. This is because then I can feel the head shape as I bring my hands up following the comb to present my cut line. So once this section is complete, just check it against the comb to make sure it's correct, as this will be a guideline for the rest of the haircut. You take section 2, and now we're going to use section 1 as a guideline, but we're going to be pivoting our sections, not working vertical. So this means the width will vary. It'll be narrower at the top and wider at the bottom. So we need to keep our sections very fine to ensure we don't lose our guide or over direct too much when we get to the bottom. So let's talk about our shape going from side to side. This means we want our shape to follow the head shape. So we're going to be utilizing over direction to control our shape moving side to side. So to do this, we want sections 2 and sections 1 to meet in the middle of one another, opposed to over directing one onto the base of the other. So now we're going to remove section 1 and take section 3, leaving us only with sections 2 and sections 3. This is to ensure we have a consistency with our section size, but also knowing where to move the hair to find the guide. What I'm doing here is being very consistent with my body position, with my elevation, with my distribution and my over direction. The whole point of this is to control and create a uniform shape. So each strand of hair is cut to the same length all over the head. As I say, this is not really a great salon floor haircut where the client would love the end result. What this really is an exercise on how to build control and how to develop technique. So once we finish zone 1, we're going to start zone 2, taking section 1 from zone 1 and utilising this as a guideline. So again, our sections 2 and our section 1 are going to meet in the middle of one another. It really helps to number your sections for a few reasons. One is it helps you to ensure you have the same amount of sections in one zone to the other, helping you to work more consistent. And 2, it helps you to keep track of your over direction pattern. So again, meet in the middle to ensure both sections are cut to the exact same length as one another. We're not looking to increase or decrease in length as the hair travels from side to side, or how the hair travels vertically. So our shape is round vertically and round horizontally, meaning it is following the head shape, it's building no corners, it's building no weight. We're creating a uniformed shape. So once we've completed both zones at the back, we're going to look at cross-checking our work. So cross-checking is essentially an opportunity to take a section the opposite way we've been cutting, pull the hair straight out and check our horizontal shape. So as you can see, our shape here is round, it's following the head shape. We're going to work up through the head, taking the sections parallel to the way they were pulled when cut vertically. So you need to look for the strength in the guide. If your section is pulled off the elevation from which it was cut vertically, it will probably look like there's quite a few errors. So you want to look for the strength in the guide when you're pulling your section out. This will help guide you to the correct approach to auditing your work. So you'll see we're working up the head, but we're going to be pulling the elevation to match how we cut the hair when the hair was pulled vertically. So you see we're actually lifting the hair now to follow the head shape. This again ensures we see the strength of the guideline and have a very clear approach to how we can check our work. Now we're going to take a diagonal back section and take random pieces out and start to check that against the comb. So we're able to check our approach by just pulling out pieces of hair and ensuring no other direction and measuring this against the comb. Providing we're happy, we can start the sides. To do this, we need a guideline, and we get the guideline from the final section from the back zone. We're also going to take a vertical profile section to ensure we have 2 guidelines, one guideline vertically and one guideline horizontally. So we take a small section from the back zone to act as our guideline, pull the hair straight up parallel to the head shape, and we're going to cut that to ensure we now have a vertical guideline to go with our horizontal guideline, making life a lot easier when we come to connect our shape in. So now we take section 2, classing section 1 as the last section we took from the back zone. Again, these sections are going to meet in the middle, and we're going to be pivoting each section, so we're going to end up working parallel to our vertical profile sections. So it may look like we're lifting the hair here, but bear in mind the head is actually tilted away from us, just to ensure we have an ease with keeping our body positioned square to our section. As we lift up the hair, we start to utilise a guideline from the profile section. Now we take section 3 and we remove section 1. So we're working exactly the same way we worked at the back. So you can see here we're pivoting, but why do we pivot in this way? Where our sections are traveling around and end up working parallel to our profile section. This is because the hairline is very irregular, so it helps to protect our outline. If we followed the head shape vertically, we would end up having gaps and holes in our outline. So to pivot in this way helps you to protect your external shape. We'll do this a lot with working with longer hair and layering the hair. So as you can see now, we're coming towards the end of this particular zone, and we're able to utilize our initial profile section as a secondary guide. Starting the other side, we now get our section ready. And let's talk about body positioning. It's important that you don't switch when you come to tuck the other side. We have to stay the same, which means on one side you will sit at the back of the head, as I am here, pulling my sections out, and I'm really comfortable keeping my body position square. Okay, that's fine. So when we come to the other side and we want to maintain this comfort in our body position, the best thing to do is to not switch. So you see here, I've now switched. I'm still stood at the back, and suddenly I've got a lot of strain on my wrist, and also my range of motion is very limited with my right hand. So to correct this, I would stand at the front of my client, ensuring I have the same body position I had on the other side. This is a really important thing to get across to you in this tutorial, is you need to maintain the body position so you're square at all times to what you're cutting. So you see, as I do it this way, and try to be square, I'm in an awkward position. But if I stand now from the front of my client and I start to work, and I work round the head shape in this way, I keep the same level of control in each section, irrelevant of the side of the head I'm working on. So let's get back to the haircut. You'll see here I'm able to pull the head, but now I'm stood at the front of my mannequin, opposed to the previous sections where I was actually stood at the back. Also take note that I remove part of the section first to ensure that I don't have too much hair in my hand at once. This just makes it a lot easier for me to ensure I am being consistent with my elevation, my tension, my distribution, and my over direction to get the uniform effect as desired. I will now work to the front and complete the section. I just want to revisit one of the reasons we keep our sections so clean and so tight. It's all to do with the fact we're pivoting. So as we pivot, the width changes. Our sections are much wider at the bottom than they are at the top. So it means that if you're not conscientious, or if your section size are too big, it means at the bottom part of our section we're utilizing over direction inconsistently to how we are at the top of the section. So keep your sections clean, keep your sections fine, and keep a manageable amount of hair in your hand at all times. Now we have our finished look. Again, not the most commercial look, but this is all about building your technique and your control. So once the hair's dry, we can do our final checks. But it's important to get you to understand that we shouldn't be changing the shape at this point. Meaning, we shouldn't be pulling out a cross check and taking off large quantities of hair. This is the thing we would have done when the hair is wet. But at this point we can go through and just dust the ends to ensure everything is sitting neat and everything is sitting organised. But let's go through and cross check while the hair is dry. So take a small horizontal section, we're going to take our section out and pull it, and we should have a round shape. Remember to pull the hair, how the hair was pulled when it was cut vertically. If you put it lower or higher, you may look like you've actually had a few errors. So to be sure to follow the strength of the guide. So this completes today's tutorial. We really hope you've enjoyed it, and we really hope that this helps you to develop control and understanding and develop your technique of layering. In this instance, we hope you've enjoyed our uniform layer.